Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here we are on Monday, November 1st. I wanted to take a look at Dogecoin today. So Doge on the daily here. Oh, before we get too far into it, I'm only going to be doing a technical analysis of Doge. So if you're not into charting or technical analysis for any reason, feel free to hit the eject button and save yourself any more time. And let's move ahead with whoever wants to stay. So on the daily here, Doge sort of making some moves up, breaking previous resistance levels, as well as then sort of consolidating over the last few days. Let's walk through that. So the first thing that I would note is this support that's been holding since it dipped down here to about 16 cents, reconfirmed here at about 19 and a half or so, and hasn't needed to come down fully to that ever since, which is typically a good sign in my opinion. Now there was this resistance level that had been holding since about mid-August, and it recently broke through that, and that was on the big move up here on the 26% up day on the 28th of October. So I'm going to get rid of that for the time being since it broke through that. Now I know it is retracing here a little bit, but we can look a little closer at that in the meantime. Here we have some support and supply and demand levels that I have charted here: 2753, 2653, 2575. Those have all been holding up relatively well, and also it topped out here just shy of my 3401 supply level that I had charted as well. So to me, this looks like it's just kind of doing some nice consolidating, especially these last three days, sort of working itself into this range, which I would sort of propose watching pretty closely and seeing if and when it breaks out of there. I mean, at some point it'll probably break out of that range, and when it does it make a strong move to the upside or the downside? Because typically when it's able to break out of one of these consolidation ranges, the next move is pretty strong. So to me, that's what I'm seeing. There is also this sort of little band of tight in support and resistance, and so that might sort of get eaten up if it is able to make a move to the upside, and would provide some really solid support to the downside if it needs it. But that's what I'm looking for on that end of things. We want to zoom out a little bit one more time just to see if anything else is kind of developed. No, I mean, this is that downtrend that it kind of broke out of. At this point, it's kind of, more than anything, kind of flat topping here. You see this resistance here, resistance here, resistance here. So in that type of a setup, and of course nothing is foolproof, but we can get a nice little ascending triangle, if it continues to make sort of this uptick here. And so a couple of things could sort of be forming together. One, if it is able to break out of this range to the upside, it would then be confirming this pretty steep uptrend, which I'm not going to put in yet because it's going to really kind of just clutter the chart even more than it already is. But if it does do that and puts in this nice steep uptrend, by the time it hits this previous level of a lot of selling pressure, I would be looking for it to potentially blow the lid off that 34-cent level and make its next move higher. And so that's what I would look for if it is able to make that move out of this range to the upside. And if it rejects off of there again, it will probably reject very hard. So that's the flip side of the coin. I would look for it to have eaten up all of the selling pressure that's there and put in a nice trend movement of an ascending triangle breaking out of a range. Now that may take several days or even weeks to develop, because it might bounce around in this range for a while. That said, the old saying is the bigger the base, the bigger the move. So, and also I think the other thing, just to be fair, to keep in mind is, I'm talking about a break to the upside, but it could break to the downside. And if it does, the big test that I would look for would be to see what it does at this yellow support level. Is it able to hold that? Because that's pretty long-term support for it since July. And, if it loses that, then it could be in for kind of a pretty solid sell-off. So that's the other end of the coin, just to be kind of fair. I don't keep saying coin to be punny. It's just it's just something that I say in my videos regularly. Just trying to look and see. I mean, the 2 hour here, you see this kind of up channel that it's in. I wanted to see if the 1 hour was kind of giving anything. Yeah, it's sort of like an up channel here that it's sort of come back into. See if it'll let me draw that in with this like automatic tool thingy or not. Yeah. So I'm not going to leave this on the chart, but it was in this channel since like mid-October, which is actually quite a solid period of time. And then it fell out through the bottom and then reversed itself and came up really strongly through the top. That's where it hit that 34-cent resistance level and fell back down pretty strongly back into that channel. So it's also kind of consolidating through this channel. Now, if it continues to consolidate through this range here in this gray box, it would sort of shove itself out of this channel sort of sideways at some point. But to me, I don't think it's the worst thing for it to kind of consolidate in this range and then gather itself together for its next big move, be that to the upside or the downside. But at least if you're tracking the range, you'll have some indication when that move comes. If it does go to the downside, if you want to kind of make decisions based on that, in the risk and the reward that you're kind of looking to take on it at that period of time. But good movement here today for the time being. Of course, I was wishing that this move would have broken that 34-cent mark, but now that it's sort of 3 times consumed or sort of given way to the selling pressure at that level, if it is able to make a really strong move like a range break up to that level again, I would really look for it to break that 34-cent level. But I have to see what happens at the time. Of course, stocks and other assets like crypto don't move the way that we want them to. They just move the way that they will, and we have to play what we're given at any period of time. So, all right, well, that's what I'm watching for the time being, and I hope that your trading is going well, regardless of what you're trading, and I appreciate you watching. I will see you in the next video.